Well, good morning everybody. How y'all doing? Pretty good here, and welcome to the channel. Hey, real quick before we get started, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hey, today I'm going to show you guys how you would install the carrier bearing drop kit on the Tacoma back here. Now, before I get started, I had mentioned before that I wasn't going to do this unless I had any issues in the truck. The two issues that I know of that can be caused by that kind of little bit of a misalignment or change in angle from doing the lift on the truck would be either kind of a wheel hop or a vibration that you could feel in the cab. Now, I don't have either one of those. I haven't determined yet whether or not I need to install this kit, but I had mentioned to you guys that I was going to get it and then I would put a video up on how to install it once I did. So I wanted to go ahead and at least show you how to install it in case you have one of those two problems and you're looking to put this kit on yourself. So first of all, what is it that I have? Well, this is again, a carrier bearing drop kit, and it's from a company called Old Man Emu. You guys can see right there. And it comes with, of course, some instructions, very, very simple, and the parts themselves. And real quick, a rundown of what it comes with. It comes with two 8mm spacers, you guys can see here. It comes with two M10 bolts, which are here, and then a couple of flat washers and a couple of locking washers. And that's it. That's all you need to do the kit. As far as tools for yourself, you would need a ratchet, of course, and then let's see, this is a 14mm socket, and that's for the bolts that are on the carrier bearing up there right now, and then a 17mm socket, which it might focus, there you go, and that's for the bolts that come with the kit. And then I'm also would use a couple of bungee cords because I have the lift, of course, to support the drive shaft on both ends while I loosen up that carrier bearing housing, if you will, or bracket, so that it doesn't drop any. And that's just really precautionary myself. If you're doing this on the ground, then of course I would use some sort of a jack stand or something, stacked up boards, whatever, just to support the shaft so that it doesn't come down. It shouldn't come down anyway if you follow the directions, which we're going to get to right now. Okay, as I had mentioned, the first thing that I would do is support the shaft on both sides of the carrier bearing here. So this part over here, and of course this part over here. All I would do for that is just take a bungee cord in my setup here, run it over to one side of the frame, I guess, on the truck, and then stretch it over here somewhere where I can keep it rather taut. You know, I do want it to be tight, and I don't want it to fly through there. There we go. There's actually a convenient little hole on the other side. I'd run it over here to the other side and hook it on something. Which I did. So that's just kind of to steady that a little bit. It does have a little bit of play, but it's not going to go anywhere far. And then I do the same thing on the other side. Just take a bungee cord or something, whatever you might have to support this. Again, I go around the shaft. We're just trying to keep it from potentially coming off. Support that over here somewhere like so, and that's about it. So I have it supported, you can see, right over here, and then I have the other side supported right over here. And again, that's just to keep it moving down a lot or whatever while you're messing with this this bracket here. So first thing you'll do is take your 14mm socket and loosen, and I stress, just loosen both sides of this bracket, all right? You don't want to take the bolts all the way out because you're going to use this bracket still to hold the shaft assembly up there. So you just want to loosen both. After you do that, you want to go ahead and take out one side. So you're going to go ahead and take out, in this case, I'm on the left side or the driver's side. I would go ahead and take this bolt all the way out. And you're not going to use that bolt or the washer that's underneath it, again, because they're supplied in the kit. Then you would take your washer that came with the kit, your flat washer, or I'm sorry, your locking washer, they call it a spring washer. Go ahead and put that on, and then you would put your flat washer on, of course, and that's to keep this thing from coming undone or coming loose, right? And go ahead, you've already got the bolt out of here, right? So you would stick this this shim or spacer, and this is an 8mm spacer, by the way, in between the top of the bracket. It's kind of two pieces here. You've got the bottom piece and then it meets the top piece. So you want to go ahead and put that, slide that in between, so you'll be between the top part of the bracket and the holding bracket, the black part up here. And then go ahead and thread your bolt through like so, and then tighten it back down. So you've now got your spacer on one side in between the carrier bearing bracket or housing, whatever you want to call it, holder, the silver piece right here. And loosely tighten that up. Obviously you don't want to tighten it all the way because we'd go ahead and do the other side. The other side over here would be done exactly the same way. And that's it. Now, as far as torque specs or anything, and you've got my face right in the middle of the screen there. How about that? Okay, that's a little better, I think. As far as torque specs, in looking at the directions here, it doesn't say anything about torque specs. In other words, how tight you should torque these things down once you put them on. So we don't really have anything that says that. Matter of fact, it says tighten both bolts firmly. Tighten both bolts firmly. And that's all it gives you. So I wouldn't put everything you've got into it, but I would tighten that down to the point where you really, really would have to get on it to try to tighten it anymore. Obviously, it's holding up the drive shaft, or at least keeping it steady, and for sure you want to make sure that you've got it tight. And also, I would recommend, if you do this, that you go back, you know, maybe a few days later and make sure that those bolts have stayed tight. Retighten them again if you have to. I don't suspect with the locking washer or spring washer, as they call it, that's on here, that's going to be any issue. But you want to go back and just make sure that indeed they haven't loosened up, you know, because there is a lot of movement. If you've seen my other videos, there is a lot of movement and vibration in that shaft, of course, just in normal operation. So you want to make sure that you don't have any issues there. And that's all it takes. I mean, if it takes more than 15 minutes, I would be surprised. I think the most difficult part of doing this mod is making sure that you secure the drive shaft assembly so that it doesn't drop any. I mean, I don't know that it could really like fall out of anywhere, but you know, you want to make sure that you have it secured up there properly so that you don't have it come down any at all. And that's it. Once again, I haven't obviously done this to mine yet. I'm still trying to figure out if I have any vibrations in the cab. I really haven't noticed anything. And I certainly don't want to fix something, like I said before, that isn't broken. Again, you would do it, I would do it, I guess, if I had that wheel hop on takeoff that I discussed in my other video about this, or if I do notice a vibration in the cabin, then I will certainly go ahead and do this. Otherwise, I think the angle is fine. It is just a little bit skewed, if you will, a little bit different because of the lift. But not enough that I would go ahead and do this just because of that. That's more, I think, of an aesthetic view, if you will, and you know, who cares? You're not under there looking at the way your shaft looks, right? I mean, you know. So I wouldn't do it for that reason. Only if there is a verifiable problem with the setup because of the lift that you've done. I will mention that, again, the shop that I talked to about this, my shop had told me that any lift that they do, that I believe it was above a 4, definitely a 6-inch. They always do that anyway because that creates more of a severe angle on that shaft, or at least the back part of the shaft. So if you've got a 6-inch lift or 4-inch lift or higher, you should already have this. And I would say that if you're experiencing problems and you have a lift of that height, this might be your answer. One thing I will mention, I did have a guy contact me. He had a lift done, and he's taken his truck back into the shop, I think 3 different times, complaining about wheel balance. That the wheels aren't balanced, he's getting a vibration, something's not right. And he had mentioned that he saw my video about this drop kit, and he thinks that that indeed might be his problem. So if you're experiencing issues like that, your balance and alignment might be perfect. It might just be this carrier bearing angle caused by the lift. Anyway, appreciate you guys watching. Just wanted to get on here. Like I said, I had mentioned that I would show you guys how to do this in a prior video, and of course I haven't done it yet myself, but I wanted to follow through with that. Appreciate you guys watching. Again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the web. Have a great day. Bye.